Hey, how are you guys? It is Harrison Barron from growth-generators.com. Now, in this video, I want to talk to you guys about if you're starting your MSP or IT company, what you need to be weary about when it comes to government-funded businesses. Now, a lot of businesses this may not apply to, but if you're working specifically in non-for-profits or the business or corporation or non-for-profit is getting a lot of government funding, there may be some areas that you need to be really, really careful of. And the first thing that I want to cover is your RFP. Before I get into what an RFP is, I want you to check out my online masterclass. It is down below. It's about an hour long. It's going to give you 5 secrets that are going to make you way more money if you implement at least one of them. But what is an RFP? An RFP is a request for a proposal. Now, this is pretty standard. A company or organization has to go out and get a proposal. And what they do is they put in every little bullet point that they want you to cover. Now, there are veterans in the industry that know exactly what they need to put in there to hopefully win the contract. But typically, they will ask for an RFP, request for a proposal. They'll include everything that they want inside of that proposal, and then you have to submit it. Now, it depends on who it is and how they have to purchase. Sometimes they may pick the cheapest vendor. Sometimes they may pick whatever they feel is right for them, and depending on the company track record, but they still need to go out and get them. Typically, if it's a non-for-profit, they need to get at least 3, but it also depends on the business. Sometimes they may put it out to hundreds, if not thousands of vendors, and all of those vendors get to bid on that project and send in their proposals, hopefully in order to earn the business. But after that RFP or that request for proposal, what happens next, and why am I making this video? Well, a lot of times when governments fund these non-for-profits or businesses, they need to know where that money is going. And part of that money that they're giving to this organization is they know that they need to pay for some level of tech support. They need to know that if they're going to spend all this money on computers and servers and networks, whatever it may be, they need to know that the company that they're giving the money to can effectively hire somebody to make sure that the computers don't break. And if they do break, they get fixed in a timely manner. This is where an MSP or an IT company will come into play. But here's the thing. A lot of times people are like, well, I could go help them. I know I can go help them. I can use Teams, or I can use Zoom and take over somebody's computer, or TeamViewer, whatever it is that you're deciding that you think is an effective strategy to use when you're first starting out is fine. However, a lot of these government funded businesses have some kind of usually unspoken rules that they need to follow, or they may make it very clear that they need to document every single little thing that happens. How often they ask for tech support, what was done, who helped them, how often they were getting it, whatever it may be. And this is where note taking is super, super important. Now, softwares like ConnectWise automatically document all of these areas that you're constantly working on and say, hey, Joe requested support. This is the time they requested support. This is how long it took to resolve the issue. This is how many billable hours it is, or as part of the support contract. Whatever it may be, the ConnectWise and some of these other platforms will automatically document all of this. And the reason why I'm saying this is because you never know, and this may be something you want to ask in the beginning of working for a non-for-profit or a government agency, to say, hey, what requirements or am I going to need to produce for you down the road? What do you think you may need down the road? They may say, I need to know exactly how often we call tech support, how often it happens, what are the technical issues that we're having over and over and over again. And that may be the end of it. Sometimes they may need to know how often security updates are getting pushed out, how many patches are getting pushed out, what softwares are running on all the computers, how many times a different computer or an outside computer hit the network and got on the network when it wasn't supposed to. It just depends on the organization. So if you're thinking about getting involved in a government funded project, it is super, super important to know ahead of time, hey, is there anything that is going to come down from the government or, whoever is monitoring you guys to say, we need all of this paperwork? Because while, yes, you probably could get it all done and produce it by the time they ask for it and when they actually need it by, but it is a nightmare to go back and do it all. You have to be diligent with your note taking, especially when it comes to government money. They are very, very particular with it. They want to know everything that's in your RFP or your proposal when they ask for an RFP. And they need to know everything that happens along the way. And they may say, hey, we want to log for the last year or 2 years. They may also just say, hey, we want to log for the last week, or we want to log for the server. It has happened. It is fairly rare, but it does happen I would say often enough that it's important for me to make a video about it. So I'm not saying avoid these. And if you're just getting started, something that I would highly recommend doing is, instead of just going and targeting these non-for-profits, especially government funded ones, go look for small businesses that you can help easily and quickly to start building up that revenue in your pocket, to where you can start to build partnerships. You can start to think about what you might need or software to buy to go effectively execute on these. But whatever it is, start small. I would never recommend somebody jumping directly into it, but it is something that you should take note in and say, hey, maybe you're at the 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 MRR, monthly reoccurring revenue. And then after that, it is no problem. Go take care of it. You'll probably have all of the necessary tools and equipment that you're going to need to effectively go out there and start attacking these proposals and winning those contracts. Now, just remember, if you're winning all the contracts, you're probably too low. You really only want to win maybe 10 to 25% of them. Of course, you probably want all of the business, but if you're winning every single one, it means you are priced way too low, and you have to be careful, because most of the time they are being forced to pick the lowest vendor. Not always, but most of the time, especially when it comes to government funding. Once again, it just depends on the agency. It depends on who's hiring. It depends how they're supposed to be hiring. So just keep that in mind. If you feel like, wow, I'm just hitting it out of the ballpark, out of the ballpark, out of the ballpark, you're probably charging too low. If you're happy with the money that you're making, you could void that advice. But in a perfect scenario, you should be winning between 10 and 25% of those RFPs. If you're winning too much, you're either well connected or you're just charging too little, and that's never fun, because you're leaving a lot of money on the table. And sometimes having a client that's going to spend $2,000 a month is way better than having two clients that are going to spend $1,000 each per month. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you're going out there and you're doing all of this. And if you haven't already, check out my other videos about standardized pricing. I also mentioned the Alphabet Club, something that you need to be really, really careful of. I said PCIe, it's PCI. I know what I'm talking about. It was just a long day when I recorded that video, but go check those out. They're going to help you figure out the best product that you should sell over and over and over again, and also what other 3 or 4 letter or even 5 letter agencies like HIPAA, you have Sarbanes-Oxley, which is not technically it, but PCI, you have FINRA, all these other agencies out there that you need to be really, really careful of when you're first starting out on your MSP journey. So I hope this video helps. I hope you guys make a ton of money. Go check out that online course down below, and I'll see you guys later.